Is Xiaomi's affordable smartphone comparable to other Android smartphones that are budget friendly? I'm Taylor Martin, this is Pocket Now, and here are our impressions of the Xiaomi Redmi 1S. The very first thing we noticed about the Xiaomi Redmi 1S wasn't the bright red capacitive buttons on the face, even if they're awesome and reminded us of the 1X Plus. It was the phone's heft. It being a low-end, budget-friendly phone, we didn't expect it to weigh almost as much as the 1M8, a metal-clad phone that is unapologetic about its weight. The Redmi 1S is 158 grams, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but instead lends credence to the underappreciated quality Xiaomi is capable of, even in phones under $200. The Redmi 1S cost approximately the same as the Moto G, but its build quality and fit and finish are, dare I say, better. Although the phone is a little on the chunky side, it vaguely reminds us of the Oppo Find 7a, not for its looks but in the finish. Its removable rear casing is similar in texture and appearance, which means it may also soon fall victim to the same deep gashes and dings the Find 7a accumulated. Other than the very subtle red capacitive buttons, the phone is very stark and bare. The front is a little heavy on the bezels for our tastes, but that's to be expected in a phone of this caliber. We won't dwell too much on specs, other than to say with the exception of a secondary SIM slot, the 8-megapixel camera, and a marginally faster clock speed on a Snapdragon 400 SoC, it's a lot like the Moto G. It has 1GB of RAM, 8GB of storage, and a 2000 mAh battery, though this one is removable. And it has a microSD card slot, which supports up to 32GB. However, in day-to-day performance, we've noticed some quirks which were annoying and frustrating. For instance, every time we clicked on an app in Google Play, there was a 2 to 4 second hesitation before the application page would load, and the phone wasn't difficult to overload with tasks either. Sometimes even folders on the home screen would be slow to open, and frame rate drops in scrolling was very common. For the basic end user just looking for a smartphone on the cheap, these are things they'll have to deal with no matter what, though we feel these sort of performance issues were not as prevalent on other Snapdragon 400 powered devices. A lot of that likely has to do with Xiaomi's software, which is honestly a hit or miss with most. MIUI is a widely used ROM which you can download and flash, unofficially of course, on a host of different devices. It's unlike most other strains of Android in that it doesn't have an application drawer, so sort of like on iOS, you're forced to keep every last application icon on a swath of home screens. Even with a little rearranging ourselves, we felt a little overwhelmed and disorganized. But MIUI is powered by deep levels of customization. You can download thousands of customized themes from the Themes app as well as wallpapers, which is great if you're heavily into tweaking your phone's UI. However, while some are free, many of these themes are paid. Since Xiaomi sells its phones at or near cost, this is how it makes its money, through paid themes, apps, and services. The unfortunate part is that, despite having set the default language to English, much of the UI is still in Chinese. There are still many Chinese applications on the phone, most of which would send random Chinese notifications that we couldn't understand. The upshot is that you can still remove all these Chinese icons if you want by uninstalling them, not simply hiding or disabling them. There are also some nice touches built into the software, like Do Not Disturb and even a feature that prevents pocket dialing. The quick settings panel is customizable, and so are the capacitive navigation buttons. Finally, par for the course is the camera. At 8 megapixels, most pictures aired on the cool side and came out bland and dull, and even while it shots, some level of noise was still visible. That said, we've seen flagships that consistently take worse pictures than this phone, so it could always be worse. Folks, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to click the thumbs up button below, and of course subscribe to the channel to see more videos in the future. Be sure to follow us in all the usual places, Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus at Pocket Now. I'm Taylor Martin. You can find me on Twitter at CasperTech, and I will see you next time.